A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Today is 3rd November, Saturday today. And let's start with this big Diwali sale. Flat 60% off is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. To find out more about it, do check out StudyIQ.com. Mind you, this is going to last till 10th November, so don't wait for 10th November. Get your pen drive and tablet course now. If you have any question or queries, feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Now, today is Saturday, so we don't have that many articles to go through. This one, Home and Beyond, it's a pure political article. It's talking about this a party called TDP. So if you are interested in it, go for it, or else you can totally ignore this. As far as your examination is concerned, this article is not important. Now then we have this one, Too Faint for Comfort. This one is about GST, very important article. This one is about India, Iran, USA, geopolitics in general. Again, a very interesting article. This one is about Aisha Bibi. She is from Pakistan. A thing is going on in Pakistan. A protest is going on in Pakistan. Blasphemy case, Aisha Bibi stands, and other things. We are going to quickly analyze this one. So our main focus will be on this article that is on GST and this one that is on geopolitics. So let's start with Too Faint for Comfort, that is on GST. Now, if you start reading this article, you will find that in first one or two line, you will find this terminology called fiscal deficit. So let's understand what fiscal deficit is all about. The reason is that many times I have observed this thing that students, they face some sort of problem when it comes to economics or economy. Economics is something that is more theoretical and economy is something that is more practical. That's what I have understood so far, right? But the thing is, you don't have to be, get confused with this sort of terminologies. I don't know why they use this sort of difficult words. Even I used to find them difficult when I was, first introduced to all these things. But then I realized that all these things are things that we have been doing for a very long period of time. Now, I'll give you a small example here, right? When we were not born, right? Before that as well, we became directly, indirectly, we were a consumer because our parents started purchasing all those things, that will help us when we are here in this world. So baby clothes and baby shoes and baby powders and oils and other things. So before our birth as well, we became part of this economy, right? I hope you are getting the meaning here. Now the thing is, after that, as we realized that chocolate is something that we like as a kid, so we started chasing after chocolate, and I'm sure every one of us, we have been out there to purchase some chocolates all by ourselves, and many times we are not having enough money in our pocket, so the shopkeeper will let you go with 1 or 2 rupee. You can always pay it next time. So here, say for example, if you are after a chocolate worth 11 rupees, and if you have 10 rupees in your pocket, and if you are a regular customer, or if the shopkeeper knows your family, then he or she will let you go for 1 rupee, isn't it? You can always pay it back later on. So what happened here is that you were in this fiscal deficit position. You were having 10 rupee, your expense was 11. So that means when it comes to fiscal or financial deficit, right, you are not in surplus here. Right, your revenue is 10 rupees, say for example, that's what you get from your parents, and your expenditure is more than your revenue. So that's fiscal deficit. Now same thing apply with a government. Now elections are just around the corner, right? We have as a country, right, we have many challenges to go through. We have to uplift so many people out of poverty. We have other things to do as well, right? Education, defense, and so there are expenses, right? We are a big country, there are expenses. Then we have these natural disasters and other things. So government, right, it has to spend money. At the same time, it has to make sure that the money, incoming flow of money is healthy as well. And if you have a little bit of you can say distortion in incoming, then you find this fiscal deficit situation. So I hope this particular thing is clear to you. With the help of this fiscal deficit, I was also trying to throw some light on economy. I was also trying to throw some light on how government works and things like that. Now, what we find in this article is the GST collection rate, right? October 2018, 1,710 crore rupee, which is not bad at all. It's good, but it's not something that we should be, should not get carried away with this figure. This could be a one-off figure, or because Diwali is just around the corner. We had Navratri, and after Navratri now it's Diwali. Once this Diwali season will get over, then we'll see this Christmas, right, the New Year. So our economy is festival driven economy, so it gives us bit of peaks, and then we have some sort of lows, and then again we get a boost from festivals. So festivals are not bad, right? They are good for our economy if you look at it from this point of view, that it will give you a boost, a timely boost. You get that kick from festive seasons. So the reason why we have touched this 1 lakh plus 1 lakh crore plus when it comes to GST collection for the month of October, one of the reason is festive season. We might see same thing in November, maybe in December, maybe in January, but after that we may observe a sort of drop. Now GST is what? It's a revenue, isn't it? So here is the connection. The more revenue government will have, the better government can do for better things government can do for us. Now, average of 2017-18 was 89,885 crore rupees, or we can roughly say 90,000 crore rupees. Now, the thing is, let me throw some light on this thing as well, just in case if you have any confusion. So, why we write 2017-18 here? Because, right, our normal calendar starts from 1st Jan to 31st December, as we all know, but our financial calendar starts from 1st April. Here in this case here it's 2017, right, and it ends on 31st March 2018, right? So that's how our financial year works. So for the first year of GST was introduced in July, right? So from there till 2018, this March 31st, it was 89,000 or 90,000 crore. That's what average was. Now the thing is, April 2018 was the first time when we crossed 1 lakh crore, and of course it was first year, so people were not that much used to with it. So April is a time where you'll get all those all your pending money or GST tax that you have to pay. Everything was sorted out in April. So this is one of the reason why we got this much. We crossed this 1 lakh crore bar or benchmark, but this is something that is absolutely necessity for us. We have to make sure that GST collection is always above 1 lakh crore rupees. That's a healthy figure, right? The more we get, the better it is, and there are various ways to boost this thing as well. So in last July 2018, there was a reduction of rate. Rate reduction means we have these 5 slabs. We have 0%, 5%, 12%, 18, and 28%. But so many items they were in either 28 or maybe 18 or maybe 12. They were brought into 0 or 5 or 18 items were in 12%. 12% slab. So this necessary changes or overall reduction in GST or goods and service tax has helped with two things, right? First of all, it has boosted a sort of demand in the market, and it has also increased compliance. Now this is very interesting human nature or human behavior, that if tax rate is lower, then people are more say inclined to pay their tax, but when the tax rates are higher, then people will start evading taxes or adjusting or managing taxes. So reduction is good. At the same time, as I told you, that it gives a sort of kick or boost as well. When prices, say for example, if you are out there to buy a chocolate, and if you're paying 5 or 10 rupees, right, 10 rupee chocolate, and on top 10 rupee tax, so total you pay 20 rupees, then naturally people will find it a bit expensive, right? We will limit it if we are buying it for our kids or brothers or sisters, right? I'm just giving you a rough example, right? Then rather than buying 2, we'll buy 1 so that they can share this one chocolate. So I'm giving you just a general scenario of how it works when things are a bit or they become a bit dear. So reduction has helped in compliance, as well as it has helped in extra sales of goods and services. So everything again is heading towards this pockets of government, so revenue boost for government. It also helps in third thing, that is a distortionary effect. Distortionary effect means when things are expensive, right? When people are first of all, earlier on people used to buy, 5 chocolates from your factory, but now because your chocolates are expensive, people will buy 3, or your customers will buy only 3 per day. So your production is down. When your production is down, you don't need that many people in your factory to work to make chocolates. So you will get rid of 1 or 2, right? Whatever staff you have, after sacking this 1 or 2 people, you will make sure your expenses are down to make sure that you are earning enough profit. So you will spend less in the market. You will not think about investment because you don't have that much money. So this is what distortionary effect is. Now just put this example all across the board, right? Everywhere in the country or in economy, just hypothetically, to help you guys to understand this thing. So this is what distortionary effect is all about. So indirect taxes, when they are high, they create this sort of distortionary effect. When they are low, they boost growth and sales. Direct tax collection has been good as well. 10 lakh crore collection is all-time high, and this is something that is not bad at all, right? We need more money coming from direct tax and less from indirect, because there are so many people out there, they are not paying their direct tax as well. So we are missing that potential. We need to catch up with this thing as well. Slowly, gradually, we are getting there. The other thing is this Diwali, because of there are many parts in our country where there was a sort of deficit or shortage in rainfall. So because of this thing, there is a negativity in some pockets of our country. Agriculture, or you can say those people associated with farming and primary sector, they are not having that positive vibe at present. And because of this thing, this negative or lack of positive vibe is having an impact on industry or in urban area. And because of this thing, there is a lackluster sales in the market, like car production or car sales, right? Diwali is a big time where people will buy new cars, generally speaking, in our country. But at present, things are not going that well. It's steady, but it's not a boom that we find. Export sector is suffering from this delay in GST refunds. When there is a delay in GST refunds, what happens is that they will be in short with their working capital. Working capital is like it's like a blood in our body. The more liquidity, if you don't have money in your hand for your day-to-day operation, then you have to borrow it from somewhere else. So when you borrow it, you have to pay interest. When you're paying interest, that will hit your profit, right? So it's not that healthy. So export sector is down, and again, when export sector is down, it will have this distortionary effect on your factories and your industries and other things. So basically, the bottom line is consistency is the key. We have to be consistent with compliance. We have to be consistent with making GST more and more friendly. I must appreciate the job of GST Council. It has done everything that is possible in its hand to make sure this GST Council this GST is as smooth as possible. And still, this is a thing that it's a never-ending process. I think at least for a couple of years, right? We have to keep necessary, because this is the first time, and this is not a small change. This is a big change that we have introduced in our economy. So yes, for a couple of few more years maybe, we may face this sort of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, everything will be all right. So let's move on to another item. Again, I hope things are clear to you. We have, of course, discussed so many things about it, and I'm sure all these things are helping you with your capacity building. Now, let's talk about this one. On your screen, you can see 5+1, and you can see Iran or Iranian flag. This is Iranian flag here. The good thing about this, or this unique thing about these 5 countries here, is that they are permanent members of United Nations Security Council. They have this veto power. And then you have Germany, and the way this Germany is a country, we think that why Germany is not in United Nations Security Council's permanent or why it is not a permanent member of UNSC. The reason is that United Nations is an outdated organization. There are so many changes that are required, and one of them is this United Nations Security Council. Now, Germany lost World War II, and this UN was product of post-World War era. At that point of time, all these 5 countries were friends, or on a surface level at least they were They were one. Of course, China joined it a bit later on, but they were good with each other, so they decided that the power should be within them. Anyways, we are not talking about this thing here. Our main focus is this thing, that is JCPOA. The JCPOA stands for Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, Iran Nuclear Deal. It is also known as Iran Nuclear Deal. Now, Iran Nuclear Deal was signed between these countries. One was Iran, of course, and the other countries on the other side. There's 6 countries, including Germany. They signed this Iran Nuclear Deal, and let me tell you, it's not a deal that was decided or that was signed between these 7 countries alone. It was a deal that was backed by United Nations. So it's an international communities deal. This is the most basic and most important thing that we have to understand. Now, if we observe the behavior of United Nations, not United Nations, beg your pardon, United States or USA, in 2012, right? This JCPOA was not signed at that point of time. I'm taking you. We are turning pages of history here. So, in 2012, Hillary Clinton was a Secretary of State. A Secretary of State means a Foreign Minister of USA. So she arrived here in our country, and she was pushing us, or she was asking India to not buy oil from Iran. She was pressurizing us to not buy oil from Iran, and one of the main reasons was to create pressure on Iran, so that Iran will, come on the table to have a discussion with these 6 countries. Now, the thing is, India is a big consumer of Iranian oil, and it's not just about Iranian oil that we are consuming. We are also refining oil for Iran. So anyways, we are going to talk about this thing as well. So India agreed to cut its import by only 15% at that point of time. I'm talking about 2012. And total global pressure, right? Other countries started putting pressure, or they started reduction in this imports of Iranian oil or imports from Iran. So overall, 50% drop in oil sales was observed at that point of time. Later on, after all these things, Iran came under severe pressure. Inflation was going high and high, up and up, and youngsters in Iran, they were not happy with the way things were going on in their country. So they started creating this pressure on the government, and finally the government decided that the best thing for them, there was a change of guard. A new president came in. The earlier president was a very soft speaking president, but his words were very bitter. So new president came in, and things changed. Iran started negotiation with this 5+1 nations, and finally this JCPOA was signed. Now in USA, new president comes in, Mr. Trump comes in, and he steps out of this, or USA steps out of this JCPOA. Now you have this E3s. E3s stands for this European 3. You have France, you have Britain, and then you have this Germany. So all these 3 countries, right, are not happy with this USA's stand of stepping out of this JCPOA. One more thing that I would like to remind you again, that this JCPOA is not a deal that was signed between Iran and USA. It was, and it is, in fact, it is a deal that is backed by United Nations. So it is a deal of international community. Just one country stepping out of it should not destroy this deal. So International Atomic Energy Agency is not happy with this stand of USA. International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, has clearly stated this thing, that Iran has done nothing that is violating this JCPOA terms and conditions. So Iran is doing everything that was agreed in JCPOA. Still, USA is not happy with it. We know China and Russia are arch rival of USA, so they will not miss a chance to corner USA, and they have got a chance here, right? And that's what they are doing. Now they are working with this Iran, they are working with this E3 countries. So basically ignoring, if we take out USA from this picture, right, all these countries, other countries are on same page, and they are ready to support this JCPOA. They are in fact trying to save this JCPOA. Now USA is, if we look at it from JCPOA point of view, from Paris Agreement point of view, and other items like globalization, global trade point of view, then UA is increasingly isolated, right, as far as politics is concerned, as far as geopolitics is concerned. So the question is, how will this Katsa impact India? Because you know that in 1 or 2 days, this Katsa will come into action. Katsa on Iran will come into action. India's beg your pardon, Iran is India's third largest oil supplier. And as I told you, it's not just about oil consumption, it is also about refining oil for Iran. Iran, as far as natural resources concerned, it is having huge amount of oil, but they don't have this latest as well as good technologies they don't have this capacity to refine oil that they are extracting. So what they do is they send oil here, we refine it, and we give it back to Iran, and we make a little bit of money out of that thing as well. Now, Chabahar port is a port that we have, invested a huge amount of time, money, energy, and so many things in Chabahar port and construction of Chabahar port. It's not just about building a port; it's about opening a door for Central Asia, India's trade with our extended neighborhood. Remember, we talked about this thing that Central Asia, West Asia, we term this region of Asia as our extended neighborhood. So Central Asia is very important for India. We have a fantastic relationship with the Central Asian nations. A couple of days ago, I asked you a question on international north-south trade corridor. And the way for this INSTC, or you can say a gate, is this Chabahar port. As far as India's regional security is concerned, when you are trying to isolate Iran, when you are trying to put pressure on Iran, it will create more trouble between Iran and Arabic world. And then China-Russia penetration will be more in this region, which is something that we don't want. Right? If China is supporting Iran or Russia is supporting Russia is all right, but when China is supporting Iran, right, when these two countries, right, will start rolling with each other, when they'll become best friends, right, just giving you a small example here, then it will be a bit of trouble for us then in future. China can invest in, China is investing in Iran. We cannot stop it, but we don't want China to create some sort of ports or military base in Iran. So in that point of view as well, right, this regional security point of view, it's very important that we make sure that everything is all right here. And USA has said that it is only issuing temporary waivers at present. We have a news item. We'll talk about this waiver thing as well. Now, we have to be a bit careful about Iranian reaction as well, because every time, if we are, back in 2012 as well, we chopped off some sort of 15% of our imports. If this time, if we are doing the same thing, then we will lose this trust of Iran, and this can have a very negative impact on overall relationship. At the same time, Iran can shift its focus from Chabahar back to Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas is a big port of Iran. What about U-turns? We have to be careful about U-turns of Mr. Trump, because with North Korea, I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this thing, but we do have diplomatic relationship with North Korea, and we have their embassy here, our embassy is over there, and things like that. So we have this diplomatic relationship, and USA was asking us that we should not have diplomatic relationship, and we should break these ties with the North Korea. And just after a couple of months, what we saw was this meeting taking place between North Korea and the USA in Singapore. So we have to be a bit careful here. We have said this thing that we are not for any, we cannot obey instructions coming from a one country or unilateral decisions. We don't follow those sort of things. We follow United Nations sanctions only. But in real world, right, we find that we are coming under pressure. So we have to be a bit careful here. And I do have a news item. We'll add this thing as we reach to this news item on the first page of Avada Hindu. Let me quickly throw some light on this judgment and its aftermath, right? So this lady called Aisha Bibi, she is basically a Christian, and she was behind the bars for some 8 or 9 years, 7 or 8 years. I don't know exact years. I forgot exactly here, but that's not important. She was behind the bars for a very long period of time. She was charged with the blasphemy. Blasphemy means you are doing something or telling something negative about a particular religion or figures associated with a particular religion. So here it is alleged that she was convicted of defiling the name of Prophet Muhammad. Now, Supreme Court of Pakistan found no credible evidence against her, and this is, she is released and people are out on the street. Now, it's not that every Pakistani is opposing this thing. We have to be a bit sensible here, right? There are so many youngsters out there. I have a couple of friends from Pakistan, and they are a bit in shock, the things that are going on in their country. No one would like to see this sort of violence and people burning tires and motorcycles and other things. There are a few videos that are out there, they are viral. Now people are asking for death penalty for the lady here. Now the thing is, right, they have this law in Pakistan, blasphemy. For blasphemy you can be hanged as well. That's their law, it's their business, we have nothing to do with it. What I would like to add here is that now Supreme Court of your country is saying this thing, that there are no credible evidence, and the lady here, this Miss Bibi or this Aisha Bibi, she has said that neighbors are trying to fix her. They want the neighbors, right? Some of them, they want her to convert. They want her to convert to Islam from Christianity, and this is one of the main reasons she denied, and they took a sort of a revenge on her. So whatever the truth is, one thing is there, that the Supreme Court of Pakistan has found no credible evidence against her. The other thing is, right, when you find people are lack of education. When I say education, I'm not talking about degrees, I'm talking about sensibility, right, that we get from education, open-mindedness. So if you don't have this thing, right, then there are people out there, they are ready to exploit you in the name of religion, in the name of your identity, in the name of so many things. There are so many things, right? They can spark a sort of fire in us by giving us all these things, because we are not using our own mind. We are not logically thinking that who is going to benefit out of all this destruction. So that's everything in this editorial. There is nothing more that we can talk about it. Latest news item, the first one is of course this Iran oil thing. Now India is going to get sanctions, this waiver, right, from this sanctions. So out of these 8 countries, right, we are one of them. This has been announced by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and they expect, right, USA is expecting that in near future we will cut down our imports from Iran. Then loan for MSMEs in 59 minutes. In the time taken to for you to reach your office, you can get a loan, has been said by Prime Minister. He has also said that government has started this new thing, that if you register your firm under GST, right, if you are falling under GST and if you register, then you will be asked whether you need a loan or not. So it's a sort of, you'll get a credit, access to credit, if you are formal and if you are complying and if you are doing everything that is right. Or when I say right, I mean to say if you are paying your taxes on time and other things. Now here I find 5 important points, key aspects for facilitating MSME, and these 5 points are very important. Access to credit. We are talking about micro, small and medium enterprises here. So access to credit, access to market, technology upgradation, ease of doing business and sense of security for employees. She calls for new era in ties with Pakistan. Of course, right? Of course, they are playing with a snake, and a venomous snake. And NASA's historic Dawn mission comes to an end. So that's everything in today's news item, dear friends. Tomorrow is Sunday, so lecture will be a little bit late. I'll try to get it out as soon as possible for you guys, but it may be late, so I will keep you posted. If you have any question or queries, feel free and get in touch with me on my FB page and Twitter handle. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. Try to get in touch with me via FB, right? Twitter, I'm just sharing things. I'm not using it that much. And here, again, question from South America. Give me the name of water bodies that are surrounding here. Give me name of this portion here, right? Give me the name of American, this person based on whom there was an Italian navigator, and from his name we got this name called America. And we talked about this line, equator. So can you give me one more line that is passing from this region somewhere here? And if you have this portion in between these two lines, then how it will impact weather and climate of these countries here. So these are a couple of questions for you guys. I'm sure that all of them are interesting. Now, last item, observe the picture here, and what is something unique about this picture, right? Observe it. It's a very good exercise. Let's see how many of you can get it right. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for your love, for your support, right? And make sure you share this lecture with other students. And don't forget to hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. God bless you all. Jai Hind.